Hey guys, welcome back to your bagpiping lesson review. This is lesson 8, doublings. You should already be good at the G grace note scale. You should already be comfortable with the D and E grace notes. You should understand already the GDE. So if you're having trouble with any of those things, please go back and review. You don't want to skip ahead too far. Today I'm going to be teaching you the basics of doublings. In particular, I'm going to teach you the E doubling. There are other doublings which I'll teach you in later lessons, but today, basics of doublings and in particular the E doubling. So as you can see here, this is an E doubling, and this is also an E doubling. An E doubling is a series of grace notes. This is a good example because you can see a little clearer. It is 2 grace notes in a row. The G grace note and the F grace note. And that note in between is the E, which is the note we're playing it on. So it's just showing a short little E that is the sound that is separate, that you're hearing between the 2 grace notes. So for all intents and purposes, we're only playing this note, the G grace note, and the F grace note. Here it shows we're playing the E grace note between 2 E's. So you play an E and you separate it with an E doubling back to an E again. It's just like we did with the G grace note, but this is a doubling that separates two notes. Here's a doubling that separates an A and an E. You will find that the E doubling will always be played on E. That's why it's called the E doubling. So the way the E doubling is played, as I said, is we're going to be playing the G grace note and then the F grace note. So we're at E already, just like on the board. We were playing E, and then we're playing an E doubling to separate the 2 E's. So we're going to stay on E for this exercise. So we just play E, and then we'll play a G grace note, and then we'll play an F grace note. So here's how it sounds. I just want you to count 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that is an E grace note between E. Eventually you'll speed it up and it'll be a little bit quicker, so it'll be like this eventually. It'll have 2 distinct grace note sounds. So you can also play an E doubling when you're going to E from another note. So say, for instance, I'm playing, as was described on the board, an A, and I want to go to E with an E doubling. I would go to E with a G grace note first, just like in the grace note, just as if you were playing from A to E with a G grace note. And then I play an F grace note afterward. So we just count 1, 2. You can also do it from B. Or any note in between. For now, keep it slow, and you can just go ahead and play the whole scale with the E doubling. So you'll be going every note to E with an E doubling. So as I said, with all doublings, the E doubling is no exception. With all doublings, you count 2. So with the E doubling, it's 1, 2, 1, 2. That's why they're called doublings, is because there's two notes. It's two distinct sounds. Triplets have three distinct sounds, like a G, D, E. We have some that have 4, some that have 5. And we have singles too. G grace notes are singles. So work on this E doubling, the basics, playing 1, 2, G grace note, F grace note from E, and then playing the scale also. I'm going to be putting together a video that has different exercises in the videos. So the E doubling exercise will be at the very end of the exercise, but I'll have it for you. Something to clarify on the E doubling scale: when you get above E, as you might have noticed, those become half doublings because you can't play a G grace note on for instance, high A. So you go from high A to E and then just an F grace note. So it becomes like a half E doubling. So that's something to clarify, but if you have any questions about that, you can ask me. But go ahead and work on those things, and I'd like to see you guys get your E doublings really tight and looking nice for next lesson, where we'll review the next type of doubling.